So question is, how do you share your documents with others, DI? So all these things here are shareable, including if you share a folder, this will be shared. All the files inside that folder will be shared to that person. But if you click a file, only that file will be shared to the person. Let's say, for example, this PDF file will be the only file that will be shared. So it's really up to you if you share a folder. If you want to share multiple files with a person, sharing one folder is the way to go to. But if you want to share only one file, and you know that only one file will be shared with that person for one time, then only share one file. So how do we share a folder? So, or a file? So these are the same things that you're going to do. All you have to do is to you have two options. You can add an email address by clicking on this, or for convenience, you can get a shareable link. Okay, and share that link to the person so that he'll be able to access the file. So let's start with adding an email address first. So first of all, when you click on that, you will see that you have the option to add an email address here. Okay, so when you click on that, all the available email address that you have utilized before will appear. So let's say, for example, I'm going to share this one with myself. All right, so you need to decide also the role of that person. Is he going to be an editor? So an editor can organize, add, and edit the files. A viewer can only download. Okay, so I'll give the authority to be an editor, and then you need to notify the person that he is given that authority to edit the files. Okay, so you can enter your message here. So please edit these files. Okay. So you can now send it to that person via this button here, send. All right, so you can now click on you're sharing this one, and take note that this is outside our organization because my personal account is not using the deped.gov.ph account. So we have this thing here. But before we go to that, let's also talk about the settings here. So as you can see, editors can change permission and share. So take note, when you share it and have this person as an editor, meaning he has the ability to actually remove you from accessing the file. So take note of that. They can actually share it with other persons, other people. So please be mindful of that. And then click on send, and then share anyway. Okay. So as you can see, there's a person icon here that appears, meaning that the folder is now shared with that person. All right. So you can add more people by, say for example, that person you don't know the DepEd account or the email address of that person, then you can just go to shareable link. So what happens in a shareable link is that you will be capable of sending them an email and a link by which they can just paste in their URL bar, and then they'll be able to access, or click on the link and then they'll be able to access. So there are three options that we need to take note. We can immediately copy the link and then share it with that person, but there are settings here that we need to take note. Remember, when you choose restricted, meaning you can only add people who can, those who you have added a while ago using their email address will be able to access the link. So look at here, shared with Learning with Doc Levs, that is actually my personal account. So only that person can really access this file. So by giving them a restricted file, if you give this link and then you haven't added that person here, then of course that person will be prompted to ask for permission. So it's really a hassle for a person when you give them a link and then they'll be asked to ask permission again to access the file. So if you want that person to freely access that file, you need to be mindful of the settings here. So I've experienced this a lot of time. I am given a link, and then when I click on the link, they will prompt me again to ask permission. So it's basically useless when you give a link to a person and then for them to access the file, and later on let them ask again to have permission. Okay, so the act alone of giving them the link means that you want them to access the file. So be mindful if you're sharing a folder, a file, or a form to someone. This includes Google Forms. You need to change the settings here. So when you click on Department of Education, this means that before they can access the file, they need to access or to log into their email address. So take note of that. Um, there are times when you are given a link and then you are you are given the login option. So you need to log into your email address, and that should be a deped.gov.ph account. But if there are times that you are asked to ask permission, try to switch to your deped.gov.ph account so that you can access the file. The reason for that is because you are given a link, but the setting is here in Department of Education. Okay, so that means na in order for you to access this account, or in order for you to access this file or this folder, you need to be logged in to your DepEd account. Okay, so the third option is to use this one, anyone with the link. So you can see a global icon here. It means that the person don't need really to log in anymore. All he has to do is to click on the link, and immediately, without any hassle, he can download the file. He can access the file that you want them to access. So if you are really confident that you just want that person to access the file immediately, I would suggest that you choose this one so that it won't be a hassle for them anymore logging in and out. And some of our teachers are really struggling with logging in. So if you want that person to access it immediately, use this one. But you need also to take note of these settings here. So a viewer is someone who can only view and download the file. But if you want to give that person another authority, which they can also organize and edit the files within that folder, then give them the editor's link. So you need to be mindful of this because they can actually delete the file for you. So at the end of the day, if you let them remove it, they can actually remove because they're already editors. So you only give this to someone you can trust that knows how to navigate through Google Drive. So if you just want them to download, then might as well as choose viewer. Okay, so I hope this is very clear. You need to be mindful of these settings here. All right, so another thing is you need to be mindful also of the settings here. Department of Education, people in department can search for this file. So if you allow this one, okay, so they can actually search for the file for you. Okay, so I might as well as uncheck this one. As long as they are from Department of Education, they can search the file. So are you going to give them that authority? So it's up to you. Right? So once you're done with the settings here, let's say for example, I want to give this to someone without giving them the hassle to log in and out from their respective email address. I'll just choose this one, anyone with the link, and set it as viewer, and then copy the link, and then you can now give this link to them. Okay, so I hope that's very clear.